Tom. How are you?
I have this rental house I've been in for a few years now, and I cannot get internet to it, and I can't get doorknobs that work either.
You can't get Why can't you get doorknobs that work?
Because the guy won't change any. It's like it's under the landlord purview to change things like doorknobs and like the drawers. You pull them out, and the whole drawer falls, and pans go over the kitchen. It's like that. It's really annoying. I really like good doorknobs. Out of owning houses over the years, I just really respect like faucets and doorknobs that are like built well, like good hardware. I don't know.
Yeah. What's your preferred doorknob? If you gun to your head, you have to choose a doorknob. Which one are you going with?
Rocky Mountain Hardware.
That's a good one. We have those in Idaho.
Oh, you do? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just making it up. I know they make nice doorknobs though.
They do.
But I was like, you put me on the spot though. I was like, I better like really know my doorknobs.
You could have said Home Depot. It would have been just fine.
Yeah, that's true. And Home Depot is really good for some stuff I found. I like to go down there and ask where screwdrivers are. And so I walk in there and I do not feel like the man I'm supposed to be. I go down there to try to find people to hire to build things rather than like, me building it. But though my son, Jonas, just built a skate ramp and he didn't even tell me about it. Maybe he thought that I would up if I built it with him. So he had to go build it on his own.
He built it himself? Like a full half pipe?
No. But he built like a quarter pipe. And he built like a ledge where he can go ollie and grind and stuff. It's just more funny that it didn't even occur to him to ask his dad to help him. I think that's what's funny. It didn't even like enter his brain at all. Yeah.
Okay. So Tom DeLonge, Angels and Airwaves, Blink-182, Boxcar Racer, Aliens, To the Stars, movies, books. What do you want to talk about?
Oh my God. Well, doorknobs. I thought that's what this was about.
Yeah.
But, well, first of all, I see everybody on here and I didn't know. I thought it was even just you. So this is like a party. We could talk about lots of stuff. I mean, this is
Let's talk about the new Angels and Airwaves. You have a new album coming out. It's called Life Forms, correct?
It is.
When does it come out?
Well, it comes out September 10th. I think that's the date. It's weird though. Music's weird now. You release a song every few weeks or something. So by the time the album comes out, it's already kind of like mostly out. So I don't really know if it's right to say the day. We're just going to be releasing songs every few weeks until all of them are released. And then we say the album came out and see if anyone likes it.
And you're going on a massive tour of North America, and then you're going over to the UK and doing festivals and stuff in Germany, I saw.
Yeah, we're going to launch some shows across the US. We're going to do some stuff in mostly the UK for a couple weeks. I don't travel much, but I mean, this band hasn't been over there in like God knows how many years. So that'll be fun. It'll give me some culture, some much needed culture. I like a lot of musicians. You stay in a small little room for a long period of time during the day. There's not much culture happening, especially during the pandemic. Yeah.
How was the pandemic for you? Did you mostly stay inside? I saw that you were directing music videos and doing some kind of stuff out in the world.
Yeah, I spent some time. I directed a movie that I wrote, Monsters, California. That was a big one. I was recording and then got into that. I mean, basically the way the pandemic went for me was like everyone else, you're kind of like looking at your window and saying, okay, is the National Guard going to pull in because the whole place is going to erupt into flame? Okay, then after that, you're like, no, we'll do happy hour with friends on Zoom or whatever. And that was just a lot of nudity and hardcore sex. So like that didn't last very long. And then after that, I was like, well, let's record some music. And then I was doing music for a bit. And then I was like, maybe we can make this film. And so that ended up working out. So we jumped into doing that. Then I came out of that. And now I'm in the process of scoring it. And so my year's been pretty busy in that regard. But it's at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I'm hoping that things go back to normal, but not in a totally normal way. I think everyone has kind of learned to be around family and friends a bit more, and it's kind of nice. So yeah, hopefully we'll keep some of those things that we learned during that time frame.
What can you tell us about Monsters of California? Because I know that this idea started off literally a decade ago.
Yeah, it's funny. I almost sent you a little video of it last night because there's so many jokes in it that came from our group of friends, and it's basically like, how do I do something about Encinitas with skateboarders that listen to punk rock music that love the paranormal? Mm-hmm. And I wanted them to talk the way we used to talk and joke the way we used to joke and stuff. So I had this clip that I was doing last night. One guy, they're in a forest and they hear this paranormal like growls way out in the trees, but the stoner doesn't hear it. And someone was just got done. If you remember, I don't want to say who it was, but you and I had a friend, whose dad would kiss them on the neck every once in a while. And we thought that was funny. So there was a joke we used to say every once in a while. Once in a while, I would say, like, it's classified. I could tell you, but I'd have to your dad. I put that in there because the stoner, they were making fun that his dad and him, they kiss each other on the neck and stuff, like whatever. And so he doesn't hear the growl. And they're like, what was that? And he's still smoking pot. He's like, I could, it's classified. I could tell you what I have to your dad. And they're all, no, the sound head, but the way they talk to each other is so reminiscent of like our group of friends that there's certain moments that I think you'll totally know, like the era of where those jokes came from. But the movie really is these three skateboarders. They investigate paranormal stuff in their own way, just to f around, not like necessarily. It's not like Goonies or something in that regard. They get into this stuff and then they kind of get all wrapped up in something that one of the characters' dads was involved in with the military. So it's got this really great tentpole paranormal trajectory where it's like ghosts and Bigfoot and UFOs, but it's all it's kind of like an old Amblin movie mixed with kind of a John Hughes thing. So you got these coming of age moments of, it's all a lot about religion. It's a lot of stuff happens in it that, were like conversation I would have with my own mom, who's really religious. And so it's got these like real serious themes, and it's got some real serious information in there as well too. I think that people are going to trip out on that's tied to UFOs. So it traverses a lot of different things, like, which is like the way my mind works, as you would know. And so it's kind of like, it's like a big soup of things that I'm into. And I think people are going to really like it. It's funny. And it's been a lot of work, though. I'll tell you that. Movies are not easy. That's for sure.
Why did they stop calling them UFOs and now they call them like UAEs or I don't know what they call them now. It's not UFOs, though.
Yeah, UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. Mostly because UFO is got so much stigma, and it's got it's like you just say it and you sound like you should be wearing a tinfoil hat. So there was this big push coming from different places in government. There was like, let's call them UAP. You actually, Hillary Clinton was the first one to bring that out on like a Jay Leno show or Fallon or something when she was running for president. And she mentioned it and it became like this thing like, whoa, they're pushing UAP now. But I think it's good to start with a different acronym, but it's still confusing because it's like unidentified. It's just like, they know what it is,
Do they know what it is?
They do, in my opinion. That's only my opinion.
Got it. I think we want to find out for real, like what the deal is, because all the UFO shows that I've seen and like, Ancient Mysteries or blah, 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 every single one of those shows ends with the world might never know. We may never know the answer to this. And I'm like, I just watched an hour-long special to get to we might not know. Are we ever going to get to know?
I do think so. I think what's going on is like you have these noises in your house and you're like convinced you're hearing noises. And people keep coming to you, like the police keep coming and saying, no, there's no noises. There's no noises. But they actually found the noises to be real. And when you weren't paying attention, they came over to your house and they inspected those noises. And they found out that there's a pretty scary dude that's been coming into your house at night. And so you're like, am I going to sit the kids down and tell them this? Am I going to tell them when I don't even know what it is yet? Let me figure out more to it. And so I think what's been going on is a lot of that. And they're going to... The biggest thing that changed was what I was able to pull off with getting these guys to come out of government to force the briefings over the Senate and the different committees of Congress and the Senate. And then that kind of let the genie out of the bottle. Because once we pulled the people out of the basements to go brief the oversight committees, that was like the first time in 70 years that Congress even heard about UFOs being real. And so now they all know. And they're like, what the do we do about this? Holy And I think what's going to happen is that like this task force report that's coming out and all that kind of, first they admit, we got Navy and DOD, they all admit it's real. We got the videos declassified, the task force, we had input on that. But I think it's going to be like, it is real and we need to study it. And I think what's going to happen is now that everyone knows, they will have to start opening this stuff up. I think it's going to live at Space Force. And I think it's going to start coming out in ways to get people up to speed with why we joked about it or why we made it, why we lied about it, essentially. But it was all for good reason. It's a big, scary topic when you really, really, really let yourself understand that these machines are everywhere and they're super advanced and they're not going away, and they're doing some sketchy things. And I think everyone will get it.
Do you feel vindicated?
You know, it's funny. I actually get that question the most when I do
Really?
interviews. Yeah, it's
Well,
like
then I'm a terrible interviewer. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, no. Because what's funny about it is like I take it as like you feel vindicated because everyone was laughing at you for so long. But I always tell people, you know, the ego side of me is like, oh, you know, what I know is now starting to hit, so people are gonna not think I'm not crazy or whatever. But really, the rest of me is like, they're just starting on this little adventure, and you
Right.
know, there's things about this subject that just are really not awesome, you know. And so I feel not, what's the word? I feel cautious about how the people are going to digest all the subject matter and really start to understand things. You know, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Why do you think that you and I can go like 5 years without talking and then just get on the phone and pick up like nothing ever happened?
Because we appreciate jokes in a way that no one else does. And it boils down to only that. There is nothing else. It's that, in my opinion.
I think so, because the first time that we met, I think it was jokes from the beginning in your garage.
Yeah, it's a dialogue. It's a language. It's like
It's a shorthand.
it's
It's a shorthand we have with each other.
I just assume everything that you're saying is about my. That's like the shorthand.
Do you still have your white stickered up Strat?
I do, but I took the stickers off it at some point a couple decades ago, thinking I wanted to clean it up, and I added some other Blink ones on there, and it just looked horrid. But you still see like the stained areas of all the stickers. And then my buddy Jeff found that someone in like Europe makes the sticker pack of those stickers specifically,
cool.
and he like bought them or something. Said to me, so I'm going to put them back on. Is my goal.
Oh, that's cool.
Like that's my weekend. You know, I can't build. No one's going to ask me to build anything. We already went over that.
Yeah, definitely not something that your kid wants to support them.
Yeah, no, like if Jonas wants to say like learn how to put lipstick on, he'll probably ask me. You know, if he wants to stickers, lipstick, yes, Dad.
I was thinking about stuff to ask you, and I was thinking about like your personality and just how fearless you are and how you're unafraid of failure and you'll put yourself out there. And the story that came to my mind was back in the early 2000s, MTV was doing this thing where they would have band members go interview actors as part of their junkets and things like that.
No.
And so I got to interview Mike Myers and Beyonce and Seth Green and Vern from Austin Powers Goldfinger. And you got sent to interview Mel Gibson about his movie Signs, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And he was late. And so it was at a bar. And so you started drinking beforehand. You were texting me like, dude's late. I'm drinking. I'm having another glass of wine, whatever. And you ended up getting overserved on your beverages. And so when Mel Gibson finally showed up, your first question to him is, all right, Mel, why are you so late to this interview? Which I thought was just the ballsiest, raddest thing to say to Mel Gibson to start off an interview.
Yeah.
Why do you like that?
And by that, one of my other questions was, why are you so handsome? You know, because my mom was all into him. And I think, you know, I think we started one of our clothing, Macbeth or something too. So I wrote it on the shirt because we didn't actually got a shirt, I took a Sharpie.
All right. Yeah.
You know, the whole thing from his point of view must have been absolutely insane. But yeah, I appreciate, by the way, you saying that I'm fearless. I don't know. You know, sometimes I feel that I'm naive, you know. I mean, that fearlessness, by the way, has gotten me into some things that have been, I mean, especially the UFO thing, like that's gotten me some scary situations that were just a big deal. And like, you know, so it's sometimes I kind of go, whoa, I really need to like check myself as far as whatever. But it's funny. I always look at Blink as like this combination of just, you know, so much like luck that was sprinkled on us, and in a way that we're like anything is possible, because we were like just in the garage, you know, and I was like, I didn't think we were going to be getting out of power or something. So when I feel like we did, I was like, well, anything can happen. You just got to really work hard and you got to see yourself doing it. I mean, maybe you'll fail sometimes, but hopefully you'll be right more times. I just kind of lost the fear of trying things. And so I kept going, and then things kept kind of working, not on the schedule you want or not in the way you want, but it just kind of did. And it also took I had to be clever to a degree too, because I remember early on talking to government people, I didn't have any government people. So I talked to one guy, and I was like, I set up like 2 meetings basically. And I went to one and I was like, you know, I got a meeting with the other guy. And I go to the other guy, I'm like, you know who I'm meeting with over there? but it totally worked. It was funny. It worked just enough to get to the next step.
Which is kind of how Blink got started, because we were playing in garages and maybe about a couple of backyard parties here and there, but you were calling up schools and saying we were a band with a motivational edge to us, and we wanted to go and play high schools, and we would show up and play until they kicked us out. But I mean, really, to your credit, you were the one that was calling up clubs and getting us on bills.
God, I know. The audacity. I remember calling those high schools. Yeah, it's like an anti-drug alcohol message or something. I mean, whatever it took. That's kind of how. What's fun about being young, though, is you're not aware of the ramifications of what you do. You can really kind of get away with anything if you don't really know what's gonna happen to you for it.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying new things for that reason. But Blink was very much like that. Yeah. I mean, I called up remember we played this one of our very first shows ever. They gave us like a bunch of tickets to sell, and we sold none because no one we knew was old enough.
Right.
And that was the only money we'd make. So you show
the
up
Spirit
and
Club, right?
Yeah. And we gave here's all 50 tickets back. We don't know anybody that can come. And he had us play. And if you remember, no one was in the bar except for the dude sweeping. That was like the bartender. But he walked up at the end. He's like, "Don't break up. There's something here. I don't know what it is, but I hear something." It was like a cool little thing. I hung on to that for a few years. I was like, that dude likes us. Yeah.
What's your favorite Blink album?
I would probably say, that's a really good question. God, there's so many great things about all of them. I really like this, obviously, the Untitled album, in the sense of like the exploration musically that we did there, I thought was really, but I also got to say, like when we did Enema, it was like, I knew that we were doing something in the moment that, that hasn't been done before. But I also feel like, you go back to when you wrote Damn It. Like I remember, like I felt I went through like a college course on songwriting. I never really thought of a song in such a simple structure. And it really informed a lot of decisions made later. So I think there is, a lot. What if I said Fly Swatter? I was like, Fly Swatter is, I would say like Just About Done, Conquer Uranus.
Another example of your fearlessness that I wrote down and I just remembered right now was we were on tour in Japan and we were having lunch in the hotel in Japan, and we look over and M. Night Shyamalan is at a table next to us.
Shyamalan ding dong.
And you're like, I'm going to go ask him to direct a Blink-182 video. And I was like, what the heck? Like the dude's having lunch on a promo tour of his movie in Japan. And you just walk up and you're like, "Hey, my name's Tom DeLonge. I play in a band called Blink-182. We're a big fan of yours. Would you ever direct a Blink video?" And within like half an hour, like we're all sitting together and he's coming up with ideas for a Blink video. And I mean, he did come up with a whole treatment and everything. It was going to cost whatever it was, $20 million. But I mean, just on your gumption, or I don't know, no to give, just walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, I want you to direct a Blink video."
Remember, I did that to Chris Hemsworth too, Thor.
Yeah, he did. He did it to Thor himself.
To fucking Thor. I was like, all I did is I walked up to him, though. The pitch was a little bit different. I said, "Can I kiss you on the lips?" That was all I said. And that was the icebreaker. But I was like, well, the only question I had is, why are you so handsome? And again, it's the only thing I ask these actors, But that's funny. Shyamalan, yeah, he, I remember, that is really funny you bring that up. I remember doing that, and I thought that would have been, he wanted to, you're right. I think what he wanted, when he found out what music video budgets really were, he was like, this is like so beneath me. No, he didn't say that, but of course he was like, I'm not going to do this. This is a nightmare.
Totally. Did you really go to Padres spring training?
I have been there a couple times. I've been in their locker room, not when they were showering and changing, so I left. But I have been in there and got a tour of the place.
What do they do at spring training? That's like, why go to spring training? Just because you love baseball that much, or does stuff happen out there that's interesting to you?
Yeah, it's not. They don't even play baseball. They just do trust exercises and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Fall backwards into my arms.
Yeah, no, I just think it's cool because what the big thing with spring training is, you're right. There's so few seats. It's like going to a high school stadium and you're watching pros play. So that's really cool. When I got a tour out there, you got to see kind of all their drills they did all day long, which I thought was really interesting. Like the catchers would squat down in front of a vertical wall, just like 36 inches off of it, and take their glove hand and just throw a tennis ball and catch just with one hand, just because it's really quick, just to get really good with hand-eye coordination stuff. So it's cool to see them doing that kind of thing. And, because I'm thinking about being a catcher myself.
Why?
I don't know. Baseball, MLB, I want to join the MLB. That's my joke.
Good luck. What are your favorite lyrics that you've written?
Oh my God. I don't know. God, I have to think about that. At this point, you and I have probably written a few books of lyrics. You know, my favorite ones are like really when you have something to say that's heavy on your heart and it does come out in a poetic way, rather than the times where it's like, I just need something to rhyme and this song sounds like it should be about a girl. For me, you know, there's a song that Angels has called Tunnels, and it's not my favorite lyrics per se, but it comes to mind because I wrote the first half of the song without an ending about God not existing, really, you know? And then I didn't have an ending. I was like, I don't know what the big outro is. So I shelved it. You and I actually were talking at the time because my dad passed away. And you remember I was in like a sad state, obviously. Yeah. But the night my dad passed away, I woke up at 3 a.m. when he passed away, and I felt his like soul move through me or something. And I jumped up and I gasped for air, and I felt this euphoria that was like supernatural. It was the craziest thing. And the only reason I recognized it, besides it being super strong, was that it happened when his mom, my grandmother, passed away, but on a much lighter way. It was in the afternoon. So I race over to the house. He just died. Oh, right when I woke up and I felt that, my phone buzzed and says, your father just passed. You know, so the whole thing, it was crazy. And it changed my life. And so it gave me this high to run back to the house at 3 a.m. to where he passed away, and everyone's crying and there's people showing up. And I'm like, he's not there. He's already gone. He's not, because they do you want to go see his body? I'm like, he's not in his body. Like, it was a beautiful, wondrous kind of thing that happened. And so I went back and wrote the last part of the song with the reverse idea that it's not that there isn't a God, there is, and it's something bigger and better than what we like to humanize things. But I felt it, and it changed my life. Even at his funeral, I had all to say, you know, about it. It made me really like look at life in just a whole different way. It was really cool. So writing those lyrics like really came from a certain part of my heart, I guess. So I like it when songs have that, and I'd have to think through those moments, but that just came to mind.
This is 20 years anniversary of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. What do you remember about that time of Blink and that recording and that era?
Oh my gosh. Well, I remember there was a lot of stress to do a follow-up to Enema, but the best part ever was when we sat down the label and played them, Hey, Wipe Your Anus. Remember when Gary Ashley and Jay Bober came in, we sat them down. Yeah. But the funniest thing about it, though, was for the people that would be listening, is, you know, we had the people from the president of the label, the head A&R, they came in, they're stressing. When's the big follow-up to Enema of the State? What have you guys been working on for 6 months? Then you and I played it straight. And those are the songs we put in there. And it was, I mean, their faces was insane. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite things we ever did to one of our label executives.
You know what? I felt like it was total payback, because when you and me and Scott went into the label to present Dude Ranch,
I remember this.
Like a handful of people came and they sat down and we started playing the record, and people were like on their Blackberries, and then people were like, oh, I got to take this call, or, oh, I got a meeting, and they'd stand up and walk away. And by the time we were like 4 or 5 songs in, it was literally just you, me, and Scott sitting there by ourselves, looking around, and nobody even listened to it. So we just like took the cassette, got back in the car, drove back to San Diego.
We got back on our horse and we trotted back to San Diego. I know. It's funny though, dude. I mean, we always were that way though. I mean, we